Northeast Seventh-day Adventist Church in Charlotte, North Carolina. Elder, when I was growing up, when the space program out of Houston had a problem, they said something like this: Houston, we have a problem. Listen, Adventist Church and Christianity around the world, we have a problem. And so for the next few minutes tonight, we just want to identify our problem, but we don't want to stay in the problem. We want to then switch it back over to the panelists, and they're going to talk about how to solve this problem. So, Doc Willis, tell us, what's the problem we're facing right now?
So we're facing a crisis where people are leaving the church. And during the pandemic, I think we're not knowing where people are. So we have people who are leaving, people who are missing, and we really have to get down to what's happening, what's going on, and stop.
So when you say people are leaving the church, I mean, who are you talking about? Is it just teenagers, young adults, older people? Who's leaving the church?
So it is the young adults, and it's the adults that are middle-aged who are leaving the church.
Oh, wow. Yeah. You shared some information with me from a chart, a study done by the NAD of our church. Would you share that with us right now?
Sure. Yes. As we go to the next slide, we'll see that 62% of young adults are leaving the church. That's an astronomical number. 62% of people are leaving the church at the stage of being a young adult. Followed up by middle-aged people, middle-aged being people that are 35 to 45, 35 to 50 are leaving the church at 34% clip. So that's a high number.
Very high.
Yeah.
Very high. Well, did they tell us why they're leaving?
Actually, they did tell us why they're leaving.
What? Tell us, please tell us.
So the things we see, the reason why they're leaving, and you'll see it on the next slide, is they're leaving. Some people are just falling out of church. Some people are leaving because they're going through personal crises, marital difficulties. People are leaving because they don't seem to have a connection with anyone in the church. And then there's also issue with personal conflict and familial conflict. But I think the biggest number we see is perceived hypocrisy in others.
Break that down. Break that down a little. Break it down a little bit more for us. What you talking about?
So they are leaving the church partially because nothing to do with the message. Actually, some people think it's the message or something we're doing wrong with the message.
People are not mad because we're trying to keep the Sabbath.
No.
They're not against the standards of the church.
No.
So why are they leaving?
You remember when Jesus was dealing with the woman caught in adultery, and he said he was without sin cast the first stone?
Okay.
We have too many sinners casting stones.
Excuse me?
We got too many sinners casting stones.
So you're saying it's more of the way we treat people?
Yes.
More people are leaving because not that the Sabbath is wrong.
No.
Health reform message is bad.
No.
They're not even mad because we teach God asks for 10% of your income. They're not mad about that?
No.
You're saying that, wait a minute, they're not mad at the preacher?
No.
They are mad because they're leaving because of the way they've been treated.
Yes, the way they've been treated by the good guys, apparently.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's really hurting us, our inability to deal with people.
Okay, we need to fix that.
Yeah.
So I need to kick this back to Pastor Humphreys and Scott and listen, preachers, you've heard our problem. It's not our doctrine. It's not what we believe. It's not what we've been teaching. People are true to that. It's the way we treat people. Yeah. Tell us what we need to do in the 21st century to get these people back into the church. What can we do? Are those dry bones, are they dead and through with, or can they live again?
Listen, when something's wrong with me, first thing I do is not self-diagnose, but I go to the doctor. I mean, the first thing I do is go to a professional. I go to somebody who knows what they're talking about. And so I'm not going to profess to have all the answers here, but that's why we brought some folks with us. That's why we got a panel tonight. We got some folks who are going to talk to all our churches about what we can do.
Yeah, and before we bring them on, I want to give Pastor Willis a chance to share this slide here. We see some biggest things here. Most important reasons why I decided to stop attending. I think that's that 28, no big issue. I just drifted away. Yep. But the second one, lack of compassion for the hurting. Yeah. I mean, Dr. Willis, man, talk to us about that for a little bit, just quickly.
So, a drifting away issue is concerning. But I think people drift away, not because they just go away, but when you're drifting in the sea, someone has to reach for you, right? So when people are drifting and falling out, who's calling a missing member, right? Mm-hmm. There are some people who I've talked to who said, I kind of just fell out of church. And when I fell out of church, no one called.
Yeah.
No one called. So that's an issue, lack of compassion for the hurting. I think lack of compassion for the hurting and moral failure kind of go hand in hand, right? Mm-hmm. We know the church is a hospital. The church is not a pristine chapel. The church is a hospital. And so if someone lacks compassion doesn't get compassion when they're hurting, mm-hmm. then when they fall morally, they feel extra weight because they don't find anyone they can talk to about what they're struggling with.
Right.
And so I think those things are critical. And then 18% say I did not fit in. So people just feel as if there's
that's a big one too. That 18% is big. That's a big one. Yeah. That's a big one. Listen, Elder Preston, we don't. I'm ready to jump into this conversation.
Please jump in it because I want to know. Here's what we want to walk away with tonight. Mm-hmm. Can we fix this?
Yeah, absolutely.
As a church, because what you're saying is that the problem is not as gigantic as we have put on to believe. It's fixable. If that's
Doc, I have hope. When I see the problems listed, those sound like fixable problems. Those sounds like I'm going west, turn around, go east. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah. So tell us, guys, how to fix this.
Listen, let's do it. Let's bring our panelists on. We've seen them on the flyers, on the videos, but I'm excited for that. Dr. Willis, man, thank you so much for just sharing that information with us tonight. Everybody, we're very excited. And listen, if you got some friends and families who need to be on this, go ahead and share the link right now to be a part of this discussion. This is going to be next level. We're so excited. You can see on the screen right there to have Dr. Alex Bryant with us, our NAD president, Dr. Donovan Washington, who is the youth director for the South Atlantic Conference. We have Pastor Van Dion Griffin, who is also one of the top leaders in the NAD for our youth department as well. And we are so excited to have Ryan Jones, one of our local youth and young adult leaders out in the Charlotte area. And everybody tonight, thank you so much for being a part. Pastor Preston, we've been talking, but I really want to just really pick the brain and go right to, if I can, to Pastor Griffin for a moment. And Pastor Griffin, you have dealt with youth and young adult for years. I mean, when I was coming up, you were my youth leader. And so when I was coming up, man, so talk to us about that. When you see that, talk about 18% don't feel like they fit in, and that 25% just saying we're drifting away. Man, talk to us about the change that needs to occur for us to make the shift in.
He's muted.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for having this conversation tonight, and thank you to this team who put this together and invited me to be a part of it. I want to, posture my statements by saying that yes, it is fixable if we're willing to do the work. There is a whole lot of work that needs to be done, and I'm talking sweat equity, like really spending time with people. One scholar says, Knox, he says that the bigger challenge with all of these issues is that there is this Timothy syndrome. And we know, and the Bible says in 1 Timothy 4:12, don't let anybody despise you because of your youth, look down on you. And what has happened is over the years in our church that I'm so much in love with, just happened to be a fourth generation Seventh-day Adventist. The challenge is that we have allowed our older, more mature people to look down on the younger generation, and it has created what scholars call a generational gap, where there is no link between the older group and the young group. And we do all we can to widen it, to keep it wider. I think that's one huge issue. And then the other issue is, in particular for Gen Z, the reason they're leaving is because when leaders don't live up to what they say, and mainly is in two areas. One of them is sexism, and the other one is racism. And if you profess to be a Christian, you believe the word of God, the Bible as your sola scriptura, then you actually have to stand up and say something about the issues and challenges that happen not only in the congregation, but in your community. And, I used to be, and stop me, man, because I get paid to talk. But there is this choir back in the day, man, Brent and the TP Mob. He used to sing the song, "Open Your Mouth and Say Something." And the challenge is that we as leaders who have or looked at with some kind of authority won't open our mouths and say something and denounce. This generation is all about being transparent and denouncing what is wrong publicly. And when they don't see that, they don't see an authentic leader, they don't see a trustworthy leader in the church, and they say, you know what, I can find community outside of the church because they say what they mean what they say. I'll stop right there.
That's it. Community. Pastor Scott, I know we're big on that community, man. Just as we transition, talk about that for a little bit, that community piece, because that's a major piece. I want to feel like I'm a part of a community.
And again, if you don't care about my cousin and what my cousin is going through, you can't say you care about me, because we're having an all-night prayer meeting or whatever at the church, but then you don't say anything about what's going on with my cousin, my neighbor, and you want to say it. And we have a history, historically, we stayed out of stuff. But the reality is, if we stay out of stuff now, they're looking at us like, what you gonna say? They're looking, what are you gonna say about this? What are you gonna do about this? What are you gonna take us out to do and say about this? And if we don't show that leadership, I see what you mean.
Elder Brian, we're glad that you're on tonight. We know how busy you are, and you have become the president at a critical point in the church's history and just Christianity, period. Talk to us about some of the things that you've heard, and everybody, we can just join and be part of the conversation. But Elder Brian, we'll throw it to you to give. We want your thoughts on what needs to be the change that you see at the top level.
I thank you, and I also appreciate the conversation in terms of Extreme Makeover and what can we do to keep our people from leaving the church and staying and feeling a part of the church. And I don't think it's rocket science. It really comes down to believing and doing what we say we believe. Jesus says, "By this shall all men know that you are my disciples, that you have love for one another." And love is an action word.
Right there.
And, one of the things that came out in this study that my brother shared earlier is that when they went and talked to the people, and they did, the church spent a lot of money to try to figure out the people who had left the church, and this is in all generations, why did they leave? And 70%, 70% said, nobody came after me. I drifted away or I was upset, but no one came after me. The good news is that once we started caring about people and going after people, there was positive response. And to find a way to build a relationship, to let people know that we care about them. And I think that's true in terms of the Gen Zers and the young. I think the formula is the same no matter what generation it is. And that's showing that we care and we love them and finding ways to communicate that in language and in actions that each generation understands. And so I think we have some good models across the North American division where people have done that, where they have been more intentional on reaching. How do we reach the young people in our church? How do we win those who we have lost? And when they have been intentional going after people and people saw that they cared, then they got positive response. And I think we need to find a way, first of all, to be authentic with ourselves. And some of it, maybe we need to be converted. I think that's what we need to start.
That's it, Doc.
If we're not converted, it's all a smoke screen. And people can see through smoke screens, especially young people. But if we care about people, and then we will find a way to communicate that in language that they understand.
So Elder Brian, can I butt in just for a second? And I don't want to put you on the spot, or it's not just to Elder Brian. So I'm pastoring the small church, and it's about 15, mainly older people, maybe 20, 25. So how do we show? We talk this love. How do we show this love? You said you've seen it across North America. Can you just share an example so that
I'll give you one example.
Okay.
One church, the churches started just reducing in numbers, and they started praying and asking the Lord to send people. And the Lord revealed to them, you already had people. Go get the people that you lost. And so what they did was on Sabbath morning, during intercessory prayer, they got the communication director to go and take pictures. And they started flashing on the screen on Sabbath morning pictures of people who are no longer coming. And somebody in the congregation doing the intercessory prayer said, I'm going to start praying for this person. They said, well, do more than pray for them. Make contact with them. Mm-hmm. They won 70% of the people that they started praying for and making contact with of all generations, just because they cared enough to go out and demonstrate. Now, sometimes you have to train the members on what to say and what to do. I don't say where you've been and you've been missed and all that. Just show them love and that they've been cared for, and listen, that we care for you, we love you, we miss you. And it was something just that basic. It was no big program. It was no big evangelist. It was just people in the church deciding that they want to let people that they have lost know that we love you, we miss you, and we care for you. And they brought those people back, and they started doing that every Sabbath, praying every Sabbath, and made contact. And that's one example, but there are other examples with small group ministries where people have cared enough to say, we're going to go and reach these people. And they had to talk among themselves of why they left. They looked at some of those statistics that we shared. They were honest with themselves and say, you know, we have not been a good atmosphere and a good place for people to come to. So what must we do to change ourselves? And they did that, and they went out and they had a positive impact.
Now, what about the fact that a lot of the people who are not in church right now are like the prodigal son, who maybe come back with some issues? Like maybe they don't want to come back because they say, I got to straighten all this out before I come back, or I got to get out of this situation before I come back. A lot of them from the church side or from their side, they might feel like they got to clean themselves up, and maybe the church looks at them funny if they come in and they're not perfect yet.
And Dr. Washington, take that, man. I take that for us. I know that that's a lot of things that we see. But what's your thoughts on that question there, Dr. Washington?
Elder Brian, I'm so glad that you talked about the generations commingling and dealing with one another. And I'm very happy to hear Dr. Willis bring up the fact that there's a specific age group that's leaving in droves, and that's our young adults. Now, think about this for a minute, talking about our treatment with people. We have clarity on where children fit in our church. Crystal clear. Children fit in seamlessly in the church. They come with grandma. They come with auntie. They come with uncle, mom, and dad. They fit in seamlessly in our church. We have clarity where seniors fit, okay? Most of the baby boomers are our leaders and elders and the people who are on the nominating committee. It gets muddy when you start talking about the people in between. Just to be honest, I will go as far as to say, I think we are uncomfortable with youth leadership. Okay. And I'm not just talking about junior elder or an occasional youth day. We're uncomfortable with passing the baton to young adults, and young adults want to be kindly empowered, and they need a place. Now, we perpetually, just like hip hop, I think hip hop keeps young people perpetually in adolescence. So you got 40, 50-year-old men with do-rags and hats to the back and sagging jeans. And it's like, wait a minute, grow up a little bit. In our church, we perpetually don't see people growing up because we mislabel them even in what generation they're in. Let me give you an example. We have had laser-like focus on Gen X, ministering to Gen X and millennials for a very, very long time. I'm here to let you know that the oldest Gen Xers are 57 years old now. The youngest Gen Xers are 43 years old. We hear millennials all the time. Millennials. There are no, you can put this in the chat, there are no minor millennials anymore. The youngest millennial is 27 years old. Mm-hmm. So these people who you think are your babies and who you've always seen as your babies are leading businesses, are running law firms, are heading hospitals. The president of Ukraine, who is fighting for his country right now, is a Gen Xer at 44 years old. Yet we're uncomfortable in the church with passing the baton to people in those age brackets. And hence, why would a aspiring, ambitious young adult stay in the church where they find no place for their gifts, for their abilities, and they're perpetually marginalized? So part of treating this group right is giving them a place, giving them authority, giving them that leadership, passing the baton. We have to be systemic, almost like affirmative action. Our church can't exist if we don't have Generation X and millennials and Generation Z and even Generation A, Alpha, in leadership and giving it to them. Every other walk, if you look across America and the world, you find more and more young people. Even our beloved President Barack Obama was not 50 years old when he took over the presidency of the United States. Mm-hmm. So we have to think about that. We have to be intentional about making sure we know what the generations are. Quit calling millennials babies. They're not minors no more. Quit calling Gen X not ready. They're running everything else. And making sure we create a space, not just for our children and for our seniors, but a dedicated, intentional, and systemic place for the group in between.
And Dr. Washington, I want to stay right there. Tonight, hold real quick. I want to say, because I got to get her on here. She's a powerful leader out in Charlotte, doing an incredible job. Ryan Jones is one of our young adult leaders on the local level, and I want to throw it to you. You've been kind of just listening, but share as the leader that we need. Talk about what you've been hearing tonight.
Yes, thank you for that. Let's go back to the introductions for a second. Austin, it was great that you said that I hail from the great city of Charlotte, but even more specifically, the great church called Trinity Worship Center. So let me give that shout out to all my
There you go. Shout out to church. All right.
Thank you for joining in tonight. And Dr. Washington, definitely want to just kind of piggyback on what you just said there. I know we've worked together in planning federations and just different services for our youth. And one of the things I'll say that stuck out to me, you said it, we're not being able to pass the baton. I will be very honest, when I saw the flyer come out for this event, I said, number one, the same people who I've seen before. And whether that's a gap in whether we're losing people, that's something that shows, I guess, within our organization, there is a true need for people around this age bracket to be able to help carry the things along. And hold on, I'm losing the thought, but also wanted to come back to making sure that we are passing that baton. Our young people have so many good ideas. They are in organizations. They are leading out junior ROTCs, and I forgot what my guy Chase, he told me about the other week he was in. But the different things that they're doing just within their own groups of friends is amazing, and we're not allowing them to flourish in that way at all. So number one, they need to be on this call to be able to help talk to those things. We need to be asking them. Not me, because I looked at the call and I said, I think I'm maybe the youngest person on here, and I think I'm now old. I'm now pushing out of that age bracket a little bit more. So we need to still continue to reach back to those who are younger and continue to pull them up. or we're just going to continue to lose them. And they are the ones who need to be here talking with us and helping to make the change, because we can talk to each other all day. We know what we want to do, right? But the change is really going to happen when we're able to get them involved to have these types of conversations.
Listen, we 100% agree. Press, I'm gonna throw it to you because I mean we got, you know,
Okay.
we talk about extreme makeover, reclaim a part of it, even being a part of conversations like this. What's your thoughts, Press?
So here's what I'm looking for. Okay. So yeah, we need to involve our young people. Here's what I hear when I visit churches, but they are not here to get involved. And I'm not making that an issue. What I'm looking for is a solution. How do we start pulling them back in the church? We can spend all night talking about what is needed, but here's the gap. The church is mainly your baby boomers, and they are dying off, or we are dying off fast. And our young adults have drifted, you know, for whatever reason. How do we, to pass that baton, how do I get you into the church so I can pass the baton? That's what I'm looking for. I don't think many people, by the way, in my little circle I run in and churches I visit, I don't hear the problem. We don't want to pass the baton. You got a few like that. But most folks said, hey, we want them to come in and take charge. We want them to lead out. We want them to share their ideas. But Pastor, look around. They are not here. And so I want to know tonight, I'm begging for some help. How do we get them back in church so that we can pass that baton on?
Brother Brian, we see your hand, and then Elder Washington.
And I think what Elder Preston is saying is a very critical piece of this discussion. And some of it is, how do we reposition and reshape the church so that the presentation is not the content of our beliefs, but it's how we package it, how we communicate it. And I think if we can figure that out to the generation we're talking about now, the young adults, then it will make the church more attractive. But I think some of it is that we have to, and I know it seems oversimplistic, but it's true. We have to teach each other how to love each other. And once we do that, we will make the accommodation for young adults, and we will make the transition of the church and package the church in a manner that's attractive to young adults. Because it is true that 62% of those leaving, that's accurate, and that was in 2015. If you do it again, it's probably higher than that today.
Yeah, excellent point, Dr. Bryant, and thank you for sharing that. Elder Preston, you asked for something specific.
Yes,
Let me give you something specific, and let's first start with an object lesson. Toys R Us had the most astounding product of all time that you can't lose, selling toys to kids. How you gonna mess that up? Okay, kids want toys. Toys R Us. We got it. Okay, but now they're bankrupt. They don't exist, and it should be a chilling lesson to us. And they lost because they refused to meet the consumer where they are. Okay, they refuse to do it. Social media can no longer be the boogeyman of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. It can't. All the warnings, oh, watch out for this. The number one website in the world for engagement now is TikTok, okay? And the Seventh-day Adventist Church does not leverage it whatsoever, okay? We don't market there. We don't push it there. So if you want to become attractive to a demographic, you got to meet them where they are. Toys R Us kept saying, come to our store. Come to our store. Amazon said, we'll send it to you. Okay. We'll meet you where you are. Okay. And now Amazon has made this man one of the richest men in the world. If we stop making what's new to us the boogeyman and meet young adults and engage them where they are. Recently, we went down to deal with the Ahmaud Arbery protest. And I put one video up on that. I got more engagement than Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, 30,000 views just from one engagement. Imagine if we're putting what we have, and what we have is better than toys. We have the gospel of the living God. All right. We have the 3 angels messages. But if we package that and meet people where they are, that's where they're talking. That's where they engage. Young adults don't send me emails.
Okay, so Dr.
Young adults don't send me text messages.
Okay.
They DM me on social media. And if our church moves to that and makes that part of our toolbox, I believe we can have some success in reaching that demographic.
So you're saying every church should be on TikTok?
Every one of them. Everyone. And not just that, putting attractive content on it. Austin and Kagia were successful during the pandemic with what they partnered with in their ministry because they met people where they were. I even called Austin and said, man, how can I be better in my presentation? And he put me on to StreamYard. When you meet people where they are, you will not suffer the fate of Blockbuster Video. Blockbuster said, keep on coming to our stores. Netflix said, we'll send it to you. And then eventually Netflix said, we'll stream it. We'll do whatever we have to do. Kudos to our president, Elder Winston, and to you, our vice president. You all said, we have to produce more digital content. You invested in a studio, all right, which is state of the art. Dr. Julian Johnson was on our campus the other day just losing his mind about how awesome this is and wants to partner with us with Advent Health. That was an investment meeting people where they are. So something tangible we can do. We can stop having meetings where we treat social media like the boogeyman, and we do it. Oh, watch out, be careful. You know, not only are we meeting people where we are, you'll get news faster. Okay. When something's blowing up and going wrong, you'll get it faster if you're on social media. We've had some scandals that happened in our church in the past couple of years. And guess what? The people who are on social media knew about it before the people who are on snail mail. So it's meeting people where they are.
Yeah, if I could speak to that, I think you're absolutely right, Dr. Washington, that that's the place we need to be. I would challenge you though to say we're treated as a boogeyman. Right now, the Seventh-day Adventist Church is investing heavily. Actually, they've invested 10,000 digital disciples, and just all they do is social media, and all the different platforms. I think we can do a better job with leveraging it. But I do think that we're getting in that space and we're inviting and I would say this, the people who are doing the best in the church on this are the young adults. Yeah. Because they know that space. But they went out and say, we want to get out here. We want to get 1,000 digital disciples. They got 10,000 digital disciples in less than 2 months. And we need to keep doing that. We need to keep multiplying that across our and with every local church. I mean, I agree it's not in every local church, but I do think as a church, we're getting in that space. We just need to do better. We need to and magnify our presence there. Yeah.
So let me complicate it. I hear you. And yet you're asking a generation who's present in church, who knows very little about media, to implement this. Here's what I need this panel to help me out. I'm going to speak for all of those in my age group and older. How do we do it in our little church with little budget? Mr. President, you're right. North America, praise God for that. How do I pull that off with 25 members?
Well, it's real simple, because those 25 members have some nieces and nephews and grandkids who are all doing that stuff. And if you would give them an invitation to come and do it, they don't need a a budget to just get started. They need affirmation to get started. Here's why I'm saying this. My daughter, and most of you all know Kaylin, she's no stranger. For those who don't, you've probably seen a photo of her with me. She's texting me right now because she's watching this. And here's what she says. We're not running away. There's just no reason to stay. These are text messages to me. She's watching this live right now. She says, when I think about when we were in Nashville and I was at Riverside, our group there, we were given every opportunity to be involved in something. There was nothing we couldn't do, and we always had support. She says, I've been gone 4 years now, and if I went back today, there would be no difference. I would have every opportunity to be a part of something. It wasn't just planning for me, it was planning with me.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Or she says, or letting us plan and letting them be there for the sake of quote unquote adult supervision. The challenge with our church is we're not willing to do the work. I'm telling you, you've got kids. In some cases, even if your grandkids are not around your church, if you learn how to be friendly at your church, and there's only 25 of you all in your community, there are kids running up and down the street. Be friends with them and give them a responsibility, because we all know you don't have to believe to belong. But at some point, when you start feeling a part of community, you may start deciding, I want to be a part of this. And I'm telling you, if they are given the opportunity to start a Facebook page for your church, I mean, I don't care what nobody says. At the end of the day, and Austin could tell you this, Facebook is still the number one way to promote stuff and get information out ASAP. You can watch it on YouTube, but you better start with Facebook so you can get a whole generation of people, different generations. And I'm saying, with 15 people in your church, there's absolutely no, it's actually a great opportunity to do something that you've never done before with those 15 people face to the floor, talking to the Lord, and says, if we can't get our own, which is a challenge, if we can't get our own grandkids or our own nieces and nephews, then let's get some folk in the community. Give them an opportunity to help us, to say, I need help. And you will get more help. I mean, some of them will do it just out of sympathy, but most of them will do it out of, and I can't even believe you would want to use me. You know, Donovan said that we have all of these people who are high-level leaders Monday through Friday, and they're like totally non-existent on Sabbath. You know, why are we threatened? I mean, if they're handling $4 million or managing, 8 people who work under them,
or fighting Russia,
they cannot be a part of decision making that's happening in the church.
Decision making, that's it right there.
Make the best decisions. I mean, I've chaired board meetings as a local pastor, and I've heard some of the most egregious stuff come out of the mouths of older people. Why not hear it out of young adults? They should be at the table too and make some egregious statements if that's what we think they are.
So you're saying the first step is simple: call them in and let them speak.
Well, not just that, Elder Preston. You make it systemic. You bake it into the system. Okay. For example, the Democratic Party would die if they ignored Black people during election time. They would die. They can't ignore us. Not any longer. I think it's even gotten to the point they got to put us on the ticket. Okay. That's because within the platform, we were baked into it. In the Seventh-day Adventist Church, it's not enough to want it or wish it. We got to make this a matter of policy. Yeah. We got to make this a matter of in the manual that there has to be a systemic place for youth and young adults, not just to participate, all right, but to be part of this. You can't have church if they're not there. And we make that part of policy, procedure. You can't have a board. You can't have an executive committee. You can without this type of presence. When we were at Oakwood, Delbert Baker did something amazing. And it may have happened before him, but I'm giving him credit because he was my president. He made a young alumni a part of the board. That was something that happened. I remember Wesley Knight was one of the first who had that honor after he graduated. And that was just part of the system. If we do that across the board, not only will we have the people present to show us the technology, but as Ryan said, they'll say, I belong here. I'm a part of it. Elder Preston and Elder Bryant are key examples of the longevity a person experiences when they're given the baton early. Elder Bryant, you were a trailblazer. You were one of the youngest regional presidents of all time. Elder Preston, you were one of the youngest secretaries of all time. And now years later, you're still leading and guiding the church. That same phenomenon happens to young people when they feel a part of the process.
Yeah, I gotta get Ryan back in here because I think, she spoke to some things that are critical. Ryan, can you jump in here quickly?
Yes.
And share some of your thoughts?
And I'm gonna say that I'm gonna go ahead and give this. Y'all know each other. Y'all work, you guys work with each other a lot. So I'm definitely trying to get used to the environment here and things like that. But
no, do you be yourself? Yeah.
You said something earlier to me that stood out, where you said, how do the smaller churches make an impact? And that I kind of chuckled a little bit, because you have other churches who may have 300, 400, 500 members, but still only having 25 people actually doing the work. And so you still have to be able to adjust to that as well, right? Because you see 300 people in the seats every week, and you're like, oh man, this is great, this is good, but there's only 10 people actually behind the scenes and making sure that these things are being carried out. So it doesn't matter if you have a large church or if you have a small church. You just need a group of people who are willing to start and who are willing to actually put in the work for your church and actually be able to see the vision past what you guys are already doing. I think
Ryan, how do you get your young people involved? You're the youth leader. How do you get them involved?
All right. So I'll say this. I have recently, 2022, I have stepped aside from youth.
As you get older, I should have added
that. I do. I trust me. I have asked so many people, like, can you guys step in now? Like, I think you guys need to bridge that gap, because I'm going to the other side now. But no worries there. One of the things that we did this year, we got them involved in our nominating process, just whether it was in from the startup. So that was a change that we did this year that I think a lot of people love to see. Hey, Jaleesa, I see you out there. Another thing that we did, and I want to give a huge shout out to our communications team this year. Communications has been key during COVID, whether it's streaming, whether it's AV, IT, any of those things. They were the ones who I believe started this in our church, reached out to some of our young men and asked them to be a part, and even said, hey, what will get you into the church that will allow you to be a part to do the camera from me this week? What will it take for you to be able to learn this system from me this week, so that I can now rest, for a change, and allow you guys to actually pick up the work and move it forward. And so whether it was, hey, I need a little bit of money, whether it was, hey, I need community service hours that I'm really struggling to get right now, or whatever it may be, that's how it started off. And over the past few weeks, we are seeing a change in the people who are up during in our services. So we have our young men, they're working the cameras, they're working up in the booth. We're getting our junior deacons involved now so that they can help with the security piece. It's all a matter of also asking the kids, what do you need? Because they will do it. Even just I was hanging out with one of the kids maybe last week, and she said, Ryan, any opportunities for some hours, because I'm really struggling. I said, we are looking for floor managers to help us run the floor during church on Sabbath. And if you can come in, just commit 2 Sabbaths out of the month, that would help out a lot. And so I think that, again, like you guys say, it makes them feel like they belong. And then once we start having the conversations of how we can do to transform the things that we're already doing, we can get their input because they've already done it. And maybe there are some things that they're seeing that we just didn't think about. So get them involved with the smallest of things, and then bring them into the conversations when it's time to plan and move forward. Even when you're thinking, hey, we want to buy a new camera, we are looking to, create a new countdown for the videos and things like that. What do you guys think about that? The smallest of things will bring them back the next week, even if they aren't working. So that's what we've done in the past year.
That's good.
If there's anything else, we can definitely, we've been brainstorming and how to get them more involved, but we are slowly but surely seeing them coming back into the church because they've been very lazy in the pandemic, right? But slowly but surely asking them to do the smallest of things, whether it's food related, whether they love to serve and things like that. We'll have some small picnics. They love to come and do that. They'll bring their friends. We had a paint party for them a few weeks ago, and I saw that there were some who brought friends with them, and I said, hey, here's a cash app, here's $5 just for bringing a friend. And it's the smallest of things that bring them back to say, oh, I got $5,
that's good,
I'll be back. So yeah,
listen, you want to grow your young adult department, go ahead and bring Ryan Jones to your church. Let her come on in. Listen, Elder Brian, and Ryan, thank you, because I think you're able to say what we can't say because you're on that level. You see those, so we really do appreciate that, and we see the love in the chat. Elder Bryant, we know that as busy as you are, we know you got to run soon. But would you share at least your final thoughts on what we've discussed tonight?
Actually, I could just ditto what Ryan just said. I think that what she just said, if you want to get practical on what we can do, any church can do what she just said. You don't need a big budget. You don't need a big program. All you need to do is care enough to tap these young adults and ask them for their help. And I think what opportunity we have right now, coming out of COVID and understanding, I don't care where you were before COVID, but COVID taught us we have to be more, we have to use technology in a more impactful way. And guess who's sitting right there who are the experts on technology and social media? Your young people. And here's a great opportunity to marry them in a place that they feel comfortable and that they can easily slide into the church and make meaningful contribution. In fact, contributions that many others cannot make. And so I think that on a practical level, no matter if you have a church member of 15, where my church membership is, there are 40 people. But you know who kept us alive during COVID? Were 15 and 16-year-old young people. They were the ones who ran. They knew enough. They knew more than anybody else did. They kept us on social media. They kept us worshiping together at the church. They were the only ones who knew how to work it. And so now as we are coming out of COVID, they're saying, listen, we want to give them a more prominent part because we want to keep that peace. But I believe that if you're looking for somewhere to start and you don't know where to start right there. And invite young people in an area that they feel comfortable in and let them continue to grow in the church. Because one of the things about bringing young people in, we have to equip them. We have to help nurture them. And Donovan, you mentioned, I was 39 years old when I became a conference president, but I was mentored when I was 15 years old.
Wow. That's it.
And MV.
Come on.
And
a mentor. Yeah.
They helped me to lead out, going out and collecting canned goods. Why don't you run this program, Alex, at 16 years old and 17 years old? But it didn't start when I became conference president. It started when I was a 15-year-old kid at what we then call MV, that someone mentored me, brought me along, taught me, helped instruct me and build me. And I'm going to tell you, that was no big church program. It was somebody in the church who cared enough to invest in me. That's what we need. And that's what everybody can do. And if we do that, we will win our young people back. But more than that, this church is not going to go anywhere without them. It will help catapult this church in doing the mission that we need to do that will usher in the second coming of Christ.
Beautiful.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Listen, we're talking about putting young people in positions where they'll come up with ideas and make some decisions that everybody's not going to be comfortable with because it's not the way I would have done it. We need, as we allow for that, we got to realize it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be uncomfortable for you who feel like it should be the same way it's always been. It needs to be decent and in order. Right, it's going to be very uncomfortable when you begin to allow them to make some decisions, to have some ideas, and to run with those ideas. But I think it needs to be a little uncomfortable right now.
Yeah. Listen, that's. Go ahead, Van. Go ahead.
I'm just wondering, what is the age demographic that's watching right now?
Yeah, you're right.
How many young adults are with us tonight? And Ryan said it, and Ryan, I affirm you, praise God for you. I don't even know how I got invited to be a part of it, but I was invited and I said yes. But I do think that this panel has to be, those Gen Zs and having that conversation with them. I'm sure that's coming. And then there should be this marriage between us and them, because we all need each other. We all need this, Preston is doing as well as he is because I've been in his life. And everybody knows.
Yeah, man, you made a difference. You made a difference. You taught me how to pray. You gave me a reason to pray.
Listen, man, tonight has been wonderful. We want to thank you, everybody, for being a part tonight. Elder Bryant, thank you so much. Of course, Dr. Griffin, thank you so much. Dr. Washington, and of course, Ryan Jones. Listen, what I said, I wasn't playing. You need to find her on Facebook. If your church needs to grow in some of these areas, be more than happy to reach out and share some of her ideas. But we thank everybody so much for being a part tonight. For our panelists being on, we're going to bring on Pastor Preston a little bit later on. But Pastor Scott, as we prepare to kind of close things up a little bit, tonight has absolutely been awesome, Pastor Scott. We have been blessed by what's taking place tonight. Everybody who's on, who's commented, thank you so much. Tonight has just been special for us. But listen, we talked about a lot tonight, right? But this is what Reclaim is all about, man.
Tangible things that we could do. That's what I love about tonight. I got goosebumps right now, not because somebody said something that I always knew, not because somebody just reaffirmed something I think, no, because I heard some ideas that I can put into place this is Friday. There's some things that can be put in place tomorrow. Like, hey, after church, y'all come here. We can put some of these things in place right now. Y'all don't wait. Don't wait till next nominating committee a year and a half from now to start implementing this stuff. We need to get on this stuff. You've heard some ideas that we're ready to roll out.
Yeah, we're ready. We're ready to roll out. Listen, tonight has been special. And we're going to do our giveaway in a second. We're going to bring on Elder Preston and give some final remarks. But listen, tonight, everybody, we would appreciate the transparency to share tonight. We've done a lot of these extreme makeovers. Tonight was just something special. And I think it was really critical. Man, I got a text here from one of the leaders at the church who just said this, Pastor, we got to stop being judgmental just because they don't want to sing the things we want to sing, wear the dresses we want to wear, heels or anything like that. But they want to do things where they're not going to feel disrespected. They want to be able to use a different approach. And listen, tonight, we've heard some things tonight. And I think that it's all about having a different approach that's going to grow, working together. But tonight's been good. Listen, everybody, we did the first giveaway. And so we're going to do it again. Do us a big favor, everybody. For those who are watching right now, go ahead and get in the comment section. I believe, can we do this? Can we do this one more time, Kirk? I believe. We're going to do reclaim, #reclaim, #reclaim. So go ahead and type that into the comment section even now.
If you didn't see how this thing works, if you didn't see it before, remember, you don't have to be the first one. You just have to be one of the first ones. We're going to give you a little time. So everybody get your name in. It's going into a raffle. Everybody get your name. #reclaim, #reclaim.
#reclaim. Let's see it.
10 more
We got
seconds?
16. We got 16. Come on. Let's do it. 28, 29. There we go. Let's see if we can get. Can we get 40? Can we get 40 entries real quick? Oh, we're moving. We're
3,
moving.
2. Come on.
Yeah.
With them fumbling thumbs. Come on. #reclaim.
All right, we go. Let's close it at 50. Okay, we're good to go. Let's close it. Let's draw. Here we go.
Right. All right, Sharon. I saw Betty again. All right, Joyce. DP. Who is this?
All right, Andre Miller. Yes, sir. You are a winner.
Like
Andre
somebody
Miller.
in North Carolina.
Yeah. Andre, listen, do us a big favor, Andre. Congratulations. You got to send the email out with your information, your mailing address, all that information to SAC Treasury at SACSDA.org to receive our gifts, for your gifts tonight. So, Andre, thank you so much for Reclaim. Listen, I want to bring Elder Preston back on tonight. And I'm going to ask, I know we got our awesome producer who does an awesome job, Kirk Nugent, man, who does an incredible job. Thank you so much, Kirk. But we're excited tonight, Elder Preston, because we're going to kind of call an audible here. We've got our illustrious leader with us in the background, and he wants to come on and just share a few words if we can. So I'm going to invite Elder Preston, if we can, Elder Winston, to come on screen tonight. And Elder Winston, you've heard a lot, Mr. President, and I know you were waiting in the background, just listening, commenting to us in the private chat. But go ahead and share your thoughts about the panel tonight and what it
has been absolutely awesome. I missed you guys.
Yeah.
Where you been?
It's been a while. We're back though. We're good.
We missed you, but thank you. Thank you for the discussion. I have a person in my life whose name is Ryan Jones. So that name means something to me. That's my grandson. So Ryan, thank you for being on, and thank you for the work that you're doing. Some of those people, the thoughts that I had a lot of thoughts while listening. But some of those people that we're talking about are not just statistics. They sit across the dinner table from us. They bore our grandchildren. Those are people that we know. They're not a population that we're not familiar with. They're family. They're family. And when we go on our reclaiming, we're reclaiming family. So thank you for the presentation tonight. I hope we have learned, Pastor Scott, we have learned some things that we can actually do tomorrow, as soon as tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Glad to see you. Look forward
to Winston.
The next time we get together.
We'll appreciate you, Doc. Thank you so much.
Thank
Elder Winston being on tonight to be with us. Elder Preston, Doc, another extreme makeover. You've been leading the group on this. Come on, you go ahead and give us your final thoughts tonight.
I want to thank everyone for listening and being a part of Extreme Makeover for tonight. I want you to mark this date down. The first Friday night in April, which is April 1, we'll be back. We'll get a little deeper in this reclaiming. Why? You saw the statistics, and you heard our president. We're losing children, but here's the scary part, guys. We're losing our children. We're not losing number 50 and number 60. We're losing our children.
That's right.
And the reason they're leaving is that they're drifting away. Or they don't feel a part of us. It is something every church can fix. You heard it tonight. Let's get them involved. No, we're not saying make them head elder, head deacon. No, but get them involved. And the pandemic, as bad as it is, it can be a blessing to the church.
Yep.
You can give those young people a reason to come back to church and participate, because everybody wants to feel wanted. Everybody. Church, let's go get it. Every church needs to have. Here's what we want you to really allow to soak in. Every church needs to have a real meeting. You heard our NAD president, Elder Bryant, talked about a church who just went in prayer. Every church needs to have a board meeting and not discuss the carpet, how much you're paying the musician. Every church needs to have that board meeting and have a discussion.
That's it.
How do we reclaim not just young adults, but
everybody.
older ones, person.
Everybody. That's it.
Somebody, the clerk ought to have the church roll and just pull it out and see all the missing members. And the church needs to have a board meeting and a business meeting and say, what can we do to get them back?
That's it.
God is on our side. The church does win in the end. It does. The church stands triumphant. We're going to make it. Thousands are going to be saved.
Yeah.
Let's make sure. You know what? And let me be selfish. I want to make sure my kids are in there. And I know you want to make sure your children are in there.
That's right.
So let's do as Dr. Griffith said, let's roll up our sleeves. Let's just go to work. Let's knock on some doors. Let's make some phone calls. Let's have some pizza parties. Let's just let them know we love them.
Let's get to it.
Get them back into the church. May God bless you. Please keep April 1 in mind, 7 o'clock.
April 1.
4th of July. I'm about to say 4th of July. I mean, April
but listen, you so full, Doc, you don't even know what to say, man.
I'm so happy. It's been
hey,
good.
Thank you, man.
Pastor Scott, Pastor Humphreys, thank you for allowing God to use you tonight.
No, thank you. Thank you.
No doubt. Hey, listen, Pastor Scott, Elder Preston, before we get out of here, want to give a big shout out to all of our churches, Pastor Scott, those who've been watching us online, the Zoom rooms. Pastor Scott, man, take us out tonight.
Listen, y'all heard it. There's a mandate from the conference office. If you need that, there's a mandate from the conference office. Get together, have a meeting, go out and reclaim.
That's it. Reclaim. Listen, thank you so much, everybody. Kirk Nugent, thank you so much. Our production team in the back taking care of it, doing an awesome job as always. We will see you all the first Friday in April. God bless you. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time.